Good day, everyone. Meteorologist Mark Muller here for MeteoMark's Weather. This is your February 2024 continued outlook here. We are on watch for Polar Vortex Watch, the mid to latter part of February here. It's going to be a complete turnaround because this week we're going to feature more record warmth, especially across eastern North America. But look at as we get in later part of the month here, we could be looking at that polar vortex, pieces of it breaking off. We could actually be looking at a nose of the polar vortex pushing into the eastern part of the United States, all the way down into the deep south as well. Let's get into it. And a storm likely to usher in the big pattern change we've been waiting for right around the 13th or 14th of the month. Could bring some big time snowfall from the central to the northern part of the U.S. And as we look ahead towards the middle to latter part of the February, we'll analyze just how many of these troughs and big-time snowstorms we are likely to see as we head towards the latter part of this month. And into California here, we're watching that atmospheric river bringing tremendous amounts of rain into parts of Southern California on the order of an additional 4 to 8 inches plus, with tremendous 60-plus inches of snowfall into parts of the Sierra Nevadas here. So here's that analysis of temperatures. Once again, you can see, look at most of the cold air bottled up. This is all the way through the 13th of February, but you start to see the signs here across the Rocky Mountain West. Watch what starts to happen. You can see this building up here, these more whitish, greenish colors up here in eastern Canada, northeastern Canada. That's going to start to make a run for the U.S.-Canadian border. You can see we do see a record surge of warmth here the 17th, but that's on that next system that's likely to cause that big pattern change. Look at that. There is that big chunk of the polar vortex breaking off and making a push down into eastern North America. And thanks to Tropical Tidbits for this polar vortex alignment here across parts of the North Pole, you can see what's going to be happening with this. It's centered perfectly just about right over the North Pole. As we head through the middle part of February, you can see how it starts to wander a little bit. This is towards February 12th. You can see it's focusing most of its energy here onto North America, north-central North America, and it's wobbling a little bit. This is where we'll start to see a piece of it break off. You can see it weakening a bit. This is what you want to see if you want to see a push here into eastern North America, and that's what's going to be happening. There's February 14th, right around Valentine's Day, and you can see what's going to be happening, the alignment right through here, the eastern part of the United States. That big surge as that piece of it breaks off, and that is our best chance. You know, the latter part of February here, you can see it's starting to wander here just across northern Europe. That's going to focus a lot of the polar vortex energy here into the eastern part of North America. So things getting very interesting from the February 20th in particular onward. And I just wanted to make note, this is what you want to see if you want eastern North America snow. Look at this massive, massive ridge here across parts of Alaska and the northern part of the Pacific. So as we take a look at our upper air pattern here, we're starting off with the European model and we're transitioning over to the CFS medium range. You can see that Inferno Ridge continuing through this week. That is going to be the rule. However, as we progress towards the middle of the month here, you start to see that breaking down. And here it is by about the 13th of February here. We're starting to see that ridge significantly break down. And here we go, picking up with the CFS medium range climate model. Look at this towards the 17th of February, 18th. Look at this. Yeah, this is the pattern we're going to be in. A massive blocking, almost like Omega Ridge out here out west. That's going to give rise to a massive trough, which could promote some East Coast storms here. Some of these could be some major winter storms. Look at this towards the 22nd as well. We're just going to continue to pinwheel these storm chances. So mid to late February is looking very promising across the east for cold and snow. Out west, we bring that ridge into Southern California. This is March 2nd. So look at this. This is continuing into the first week of March. Very interesting. So we might have a big end here to winter time. All right, so you want to take a look at what's going on here. The West is really getting pummeled with these systems. Extreme amounts of rainfall on the order of an additional 48 inches across parts of Los Angeles, the mountains. Look at the mountains of Sierra Nevadas here, looking upwards of 60 plus inches of snow. That's going to translate inland here. What is going to happen with the energy? We do see here a lot of rain showers, tropical moisture here across parts of Florida, the Bahamas. That's going to continue as this low pressure moves away. May get some scattered snow showers here across parts of Cape Cod, Nantucket here, but look at most to the east. we're looking very quiet. The west is where the big show is. Now watch what happens here towards the mid to latter part of this week, towards the 8th. That piece of energy ejects out here into the northern plains. That's going to bring some snow showers and some heavy snow to parts of the Rockies continuing. Watch this piece of energy here across the four corners. And look at this. We're going to bring some rainfall here to places like Cleveland. This is towards the 9th, so we're getting right around your TGIF, all the way down into the deep south. Some showers and thunder showers likely. That's going to push to the east here. This is going to be an all-rain event. Maybe some scattered mixed precipitation here across northern Maine, New Brunswick, and Quebec. But look at this. This is all rain. Here's our next piece of energy. You can see across the west and the Four Corners region. This is towards the 10th. This is where things start to get a little bit more interesting. So our next system towards the 12th, GFS has been trending a little warmer with this, but I caution you because there's going to be a big high. There's that 1028 millibar high just to our north, supplying the cold air here. Northern edge of this, it's going to be close for you in Cleveland, but look at that towards Chicago. You'll be getting heavy snow. That's going to translate up here into the northeast and to the north of this low pressure track. That's where we could see the accumulating snow towards the 13th into the 14th. Now, it does get kind of quiet behind that low pressure system. You can see that blows up into eastern Canada here towards the 15th and 16th. Now, look at these clipper type systems. Could bring some bouts of some heavy snow at times here across parts of the Great Lakes, parts of the Northeast. There's our next clipper system pushing through. Now look at this next system. Yeah, I know this doesn't align with our colder conditions, but this is probably the next system that's really going to help to change the pattern. There's going to be a massive polar vortex surge behind this low pressure system towards the 17th. Now we'll see a surge of warmth across the east. Look at that once again. But look at how that quickly changes as we get behind this system. Another low pressure spinning up off the southeast. A lot can change this far out, so I am expecting changes. But look at this. There's that 1050 millibar high. That's going to help to push some big cold time air here across the eastern part of the United States. And I think that will help push this system a little bit further to the south. And it'll be interesting to see if we can get some coastal development towards the 22nd. All right, so our NAO index, it is trending towards the negative side. We're almost neutral at this point, so things are going to be changing as we head throughout February. Some of the models taking us, further downward here, but the trend is much further down. You can see throughout the month of January, you can see how much we went positive here, almost up to +2. That's why we saw a tapering off of that wintry weather, but things are changing here towards mid to late February as the index goes slightly negative. All right, so taking a look at our European model here, you can see there is those systems out west, and then here across the southeast, there's our low pressure pretty much cutting off, upper level low, bringing some showers and thunderstorm activity. Now look at much of the central and eastern part of the United States, northeast, looking very quiet as we continue in time. It's the west coast that's going to continue to see these massive systems, that atmospheric river moving into Southern California, into parts of the Four Corners region. There's our area of low pressure just spinning out over the open Atlantic here, keeping any coastal system from reaching the eastern part of the United States as we see that big nose of high pressure system here across the East Coast. Look at that, extends from eastern Canada all the way to the south. Florida will be drying out as we head towards the middle to latter part of this week. Now, see there across the northern plains, you can see low pressure winding up, but that's going to drag some warmer air back east here, even warmer as we head towards the latter part of the week into next weekend. And that's when we start to see a little bit more in the way of a pattern change developing here. There's that big, massive high pressure. That's going to start surging eventually some of this colder air to the south. And one thing I just wanted to note here, this is towards February 10th on the European model. Look what's starting to happen here. Big area of high pressure. That's going to force those areas of storminess way up and over this ridge. So this is the start of our big pattern change. All right, so taking a look at our HRRR model, weather is pretty much clear across the east here. We're not looking at much, if any, weather. It's down here in the southeast. Look at this Florida region. We're going to be looking at some heavy downpours, showers and thunderstorms likely. Maybe some isolated severe down towards Miami here, South Florida. Texas is drying out here. Look at that low pressure moving to East Texas. But look at that. You can see that pretty much moves out of Florida and the southeast. with the exception for parts of Louisiana all the way to Georgia and South Carolina here. So our next batch of precipitation, heavy rain, will be moving into Florida once again. So these upper level lows kind of continue to spin around as we go in time. You can see pushing more tropical moisture here across the eastern part of the Gulf, and then eventually towards the Bahamas. That's where we're going to start to see towards latter part of Monday here into Monday evening. You can see that heavy precipitation in the form of showers and big-time thunderstorms here heading to the east. This is a coastal low, but it will not be heading up the east coast. Now, if we head out west, look at this system. This is a big-time system. It's pushing that atmospheric river into Southern California here. Look at that. That is going to be some big-time problems, flooding, mudslides, the whole works here. And then look at the Sierra Nevadas getting plastered with heavy snow here, upwards of 60-plus inches. This is a big-time low-pressure system, and look how slow it's moving. This is agonizingly slow. You can see out west here, we continue with that atmospheric river, pushing that surge of moisture here into parts of California, continuing with tremendous amounts of rain and snowfall all the way into early morning on Tuesday. And I would not be surprised if parts of Southern California get upwards of 8 to 12 plus inches of rainfall. You can see tremendous amounts of rain heading on into Southern California. And stretching here across parts of Florida, Alabama, Georgia, and the rest of the southeast, we could be looking at an average of 1 to as much as 3 inches of rainfall. So here's our liquid equivalent precipitation totals here. This takes us just through Tuesday. California getting most of it, but look at the southeast here, tapping into some Gulf moisture as well, up to 1, 2, maybe up to 3 inches there, closer to the red zones. Southern California picking up tremendous rain, 4 to 8 inches of rain here, especially around Los Angeles, southward to San Diego. That is very unprecedented of you, but look at this here across the Northeast and Midwest. This is a very dry week. Until we get to about Friday into Saturday, we bring in a storm system that could bring up towards maybe 1/4 to 1/2 an inch of rainfall. No snow as we continue. And look at this, another low pressure blowing up. This is just in time for our pattern change. So this might be the storm that brings us that big pattern change, a surge of moisture to the north initially here. So snowfall totals, it's going to be confined mainly to the California and Rocky Mountains here. Look at this. Yeah, back east, the snow deficit, except for Nova Scotia, eastern New Brunswick here, you could pick upwards of maybe 4 to 8 inches of snow over, say, the next first part of the week here and, throughout the mid part of the week. But look at that. It's not until we get to about Tuesday, February 13th here. Look at this. This is our big change we've been waiting for here across the Northeast. This might be our big storm to initially kick off the big pattern change. And looking at GFS snowfall totals here, the Rocky Mountains, Sierra Nevadas out west here getting upwards of 70 plus inches of snow. That is insane. But look at this. Yeah, here is the GFS also indicating right around the middle part of the month that we're going to start to see these tracks, especially on the northern side of these systems, bring some more significant chances of snowfall. All right, so for Canadian weather here, it's going to be a quiet start here as we get into this week, but look at this. Later part of the week here towards February 8th, we're going to start to see some snow showers and heavy snow breaking out across parts of central and northern Ontario here. You see that system pulls to the east, rainfall all the way up into the capital of Canada here, Ottawa. But look at this, as this low pressure system moves to the east, that'll quickly change over to some scattered snow showers. Now, is there any large scale snowstorms? It looks like right around Valentine's Day, there could be a big coastal storm up here and over towards Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick. We're definitely going to have to keep an eye on that. Another system here, Clipper type system across the central Rockies. Now watch this as we continue to go in time. We start to see a little bit more of an active weather pattern. This Clipper kind of bringing some heavy snow to eastern Ontario towards the 17th. We're going to start to see that colder air really start to kick in. You see towards the 20th, though, these big high pressures, 1050 millibar high. That is what I was talking about with, to supply the cold air here. That's going to push a lot of the systems south of the U.S.-Canadian border. So that's going to end with drier conditions here across much of central and eastern Canada towards the latter part of the month. And I wanted to draw your attention up here across Canada, especially central and eastern Canada, even western Canada for that matter. But this is most prominent here in central and eastern Canada. This is what you want to see here in the wintertime. We're finally getting some snowfall measurable snowfall, some more significant, and that's going to help the drought situation up here. And snowfall across Canada here, it will finally be picking up, especially after, say, the 10th. Look at this. It's not just for the west coast of Canada where you're going to see tremendous snow here, but look at here, even from Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, up into the eastern provinces and central areas, finally starting to pick up snowfall in excess of 20 plus centimeters here. This is great news. And as we take a look at the Caribbean here, I do not want to leave you guys out down here in the tropics. Look at this. Yeah, we got this big area of stalled out low pressure system here east of, say, Hispaniola, Puerto Rico. There's that upper level low kind of hanging out across Florida. That's going to be with us the next couple days. It's going to drag some showers and thunder showers across Jamaica and the Cayman Islands. Look what happens, though, as this pivots eastward. It's going to drag a frontal boundary towards, say, Puerto Rico and the northern Lesser Antilles, the Virgin Islands here. And that's going to bring some very heavy rain here as we head towards the 7th and into the 8th. You see that pushing to the east here as we head towards the middle to latter part of this week. So tremendous rain on the southern portion of this frontal boundary. You can see the storm wrapping way up, but its moisture is going to be felt all the way down to Trinidad and Tobago here. That's where we're going to see some heavy rains. That finally pushing to the east, and look at this, a tranquil weather pattern setting up towards the middle part of the month until we get to about Valentine's Day here. That's where we'll start to see some shower and thunderstorm activity with this stalled out frontal boundary all the way in towards the Yucatan Peninsula. And rainfall here across the Caribbean looking pretty rainy around the Bahamas, South Florida, Cuba, Hispaniola, and Puerto Rico, especially here with that stalled out frontal boundary just to your north and east. Jamaica and the Cayman Islands also picking up some rainfall over the next couple days. Could total upwards of 30 to 50 millimeters. But look at, and that's upwards of an inch to inch and a quarter. But look at here across the Bahamas, we're looking upwards of, say, 45 to 70 millimeters. That's getting up towards 1.5, 2 inches of rainfall. Central America looking pretty dry here. And as we get into the Eastern Caribbean here, parts of the Atlantic, look at this. Puerto Rico, you're going to be picking up, especially across the southern shores here, upwards of 100 to 150 millimeters. That's getting upwards of towards 3 to as much as 5 inches of rain. Northern Lesser Antilles, Virgin Islands, also in the same boat here. Look at those yellows and oranges. Also, the southeastern Bahamas here, near the Turks and Caicos, you're definitely picking upwards of 60 to 100 millimeters here, anywhere from 2.5 to 3.5 inches of rainfall. I got plenty more weather for you in just a moment, but take a look at my affiliate. Do you want some awesome maps? Check this out. I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code. All right, so as we take a look at our temperature outlook here, this is just, I don't know, this is just now winter. You can see even the cold air here in northern New England, 20s and 30s is retreating. Look at this big bowl of warmth here. 50s all the way up to the Dakotas, even 60s here and 70s in South Texas and Florida. This is crazy. But as I said before, this is going to be changing. This is going to be mainly our last majorly warm week, I think, for this month. You can see this 60-degree air all the way up into parts of the northern plains. Look at there we go. We're eroding that big amount of cold here to the north. And as we get into, say, Wednesday here, you can see what's going on. This is surging to the north. Ohio Valley getting into the 50s. This area of 60s just expanding as we head into Thursday as well. Look at this. This is really crazy. 60s all the way up to central Des Moines, Iowa here. Look at that. 50s into Chicago and Cleveland. Buffalo, New York into the 50s. And look at the 70s all along the Gulf Coast. So we're just continuing to warm this into Friday as well. The surge of warmth on that big area of well, I don't want to call it a big area of low pressure, but it'll be surging up here into eastern Canada as well. And as we head on to next weekend, it's still looking really mild here across the Ohio Valley into the northeast, 50s and 60s. But look what's starting to happen here. There's that piece of the polar vortex starting to show itself across the northern tier, north central plains. Extended outlook from our hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton, Upper Susquehanna, River Valley of New York, and Pennsylvania. Look at this. We start off cold in the mornings. Look at the first half of the week going down into the teens and lower 20s. We're quickly rebounding, though. Look at the high temperatures throughout the week, getting up towards the 50s. We're soaring through the 40s into the 50s by Thursday and Friday. A chance of showers as the next front moves in for Friday and then towards the weekend. But, winter is on break for this week, but watch out come the middle to latter part of February. As always, I want to thank you for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Join me on Facebook at MeteoMark, also at Weather Northeastern, also at Hurricane Northeastern, and also at Susquehanna Weather. Also Twitter at Weather Eastern, and you can visit me at MeteoMark.com. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to check out my winter weather outlook for 2023-24, a link in the description down below, as well as my affiliate, Trilogy Maps.